Okay, welcome back. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do some examples of taking conjugates. So we're going to take the conjugate of each one of these, and then we're going to use the conjugate to divide these two complex numbers. So let's start with conjugates. Very easy. If you have a complex number in standard form, then all you have to do is change the subtraction to a plus or the addition sign to a subtraction sign. So in this case here, the conjugate would be simply 2 minus I squared 5. Okay? Now, in this case here, if we want the conjugate of this, we have to first write it in standard form and then change the sign. So in this case, this would be 0 minus 1/2 I, so it would just be plus. So we could write it as 0 plus 1/2 I, or just 1/2 I, if you wanted to simplify it. Okay? Now, normally, just by the way, when we're dealing with division, right, remember what I said, when we divide complex numbers, we want to use the conjugate, but we only need to use the conjugate if we have a complex number in the denominator. If we just have an imaginary part, we don't need to find the conjugate. Okay, all we have to really do is just multiply by I, okay, on the top and the bottom. Okay, so the conjugate is really used in the case that we're talking about division, is only used when we have a complex number in the denominator. Okay, so in this case, and I'll show you an example when we get there. Okay, so this would just be 1/2 I. And of course, this would just be -3 minus 4I would be the conjugate. Okay, so now let's apply this idea to this example. So now we want to write it in fractional form using the fraction bar. So we would write this as 2 plus 5I divided by 4 minus I. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the top and bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. Okay, so this is this is called complex conjugate. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom. By 4 plus I. So now I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to get the sum of two squares, right? It's going to be 4 plus 1. Okay, because it's going to be a squared plus b squared. But if you want to go through the process and FOIL it, that's fine. But I'm going to get a squared plus b squared on the bottom. I'm going to get the sum of the two squares. Now on the top, what am I going to get? I'm going to get what? This is going to be 2 times 4, so I'm going to get 8 plus 2I plus what? 20I plus what? I'm going to get 5I times I, which gives me 5I squared. Okay, and then on the bottom, I'm going to get 4 plus 1. Okay, again, if you want to see that, just FOIL these out, multiply these together with the FOIL method. 4 minus I times 4 plus I, and you'll get 4 plus 1. And so now this really simplifies quite nicely, well, as nicely as you would expect. So now this is going to give me a minus 5 here because I squared is -1, so I'm going to get a minus 5. So this is going to be 8 minus 5 from here. And this is going to become what? 22I plus 22I over 5. And now this simplifies. Now 8 minus 5 is 3. So what do I get? I get 3 plus 22i over 5. Now, you could leave it like this, but if it's asking you to put it in standard form, then you've got to split it up into two fractions, and you're going to have two fractions in this case. So in this case, you're going to end up with 3/5. So you got a real part plus 22/5 I. Because remember, in standard form, it's got to be a plus bi. Okay. Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Oh, a squared plus b squared. I'm sorry. I messed up. This is, I forgot the square. So 4 squared plus 1 squared. So, oh, I'm sorry. Not 5. This should be 17. Sorry about that. 17. Oh, so these should be 17. Sorry about that. So yeah, I said it, but I didn't do it. So it's a squared plus b squared. So a squared plus b squared. And so that's where the 17 comes in. And that's it. Oh, I wanted to show you, okay, so what if you don't have a complex number at the bottom? Well, then it becomes really easy. I'll show you that. So let's say we had something like this. 2 plus I times the -5th, and we had divided by 4i. Okay? In this case here, all we need to do is get rid of the complex number on the imaginary number on the bottom. Well, the easiest way to do that is just multiply the top and the bottom by I. That's the easiest way. So you don't have to deal with conjugates at all. Just multiply the top and the bottom by I. And so what do you get? Well, here you get 2 plus I, oops, 2 plus I times the root 5 times I, okay, because remember, you're multiplying it by the whole thing. Be careful. And then the bottom just becomes 4i squared, which then just becomes what? Now I'm going to distribute the I. This becomes 2i plus I squared times the square root of 5 over, well, now this becomes -4, right? Because of the I squared. And now here, watch what happens. This becomes negative now because this I squared is -1, so I get a subtraction here. And so my final answer is going to be what? It's going to be negative, well, not the final answer, but my next step is going to be, I get negative square root of 5 plus 2i, right? Because the 2i, this is negative square root of 5, over -4. And now I'm going to split it up into standard form. And then again, negative divided by negative for both of these. So I'm going to get, for my final answer now, is going to be the square root of 5 over 4 minus 2, so that'd be minus 1/2. I. Okay, so in this case I didn't need the conjugate. Okay, that's it. Have a great day.